Okay, so we've been getting a decent amount of Jurassic World Rebirth news over the past few weeks, and I have failed to talk about really any of it, which is fun. But here we are now. Now, in the last few days, one of the biggest topics has been the mutants of Jurassic World Rebirth, and we've learned a few new things about them, and some things that I just kind of want to talk about, or maybe just kind of like deliver it as news for everybody who doesn't really know about it. We know a little bit more about the D-Rex. It's now known as the Distortus Rex, which is translates to the distorted king. And now, interestingly enough, we know that it was created in 2010 in universe, of course, not in the real world. In universe, it was created back in 2010, which is interesting because me, and I think that everybody else, we were operating under the assumption that this was like one of the first attempts at creating a dinosaur for the original park. That's kind of what the trailers have led us to believe, because they said that this was like I guess, the testing area for the original park. That shows that that's not the case, because 2010, that's 5 years after Jurassic World officially opened, and 5 years before Jurassic World officially failed. So that really is very recent, all things considered. That's definitely not the 90s, and that really shows that what I assume is a flashback scene very much is in the modern day. I mean, we also see InGen there, which is interesting because that shows that InGen had a part to play into this. So there's a lot we don't know about the D-Rex. I think it's certainly not what we expect it to be. And I'd say that's a good thing. That is a good thing because, first of all, it allows us to speculate and try to figure out what's truly going on with this movie. And it gives us an opportunity to be surprised, because I think that most of us kind of thought that we had it dialed in. Like, we knew what the D-Rex was all about going into this. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm happy that we have a little bit of mystery going into this. Like, why would they decide to create, or what were they doing that caused the D-Rex to come to form? Obviously, the D-Rex has a lot of traits that are pretty reminiscent to T-Rex, and by a lot of traits I mean the small arms with 2 digits on each hand. That's like the extent of it. But I still think that this is very much like an attempt at creating a T-Rex. But what if they had other nefarious purposes with this? What if they were trying to, what if it was another attempt at weaponizing dinosaurs, which is always a hit or miss plot point, but it just went terribly wrong? Or what if they were trying to apply certain traits to the T-Rex that were a lot more favorable for the public eye or something like that? I don't know. There's a lot of very interesting paths that can take, and obviously there might be some lies being told to the group who are going to get the DNA from the island. I'm very interested to see it, and I hope that at the end of the day it'll be a very fun and interesting movie. On top of that, of course, we have had some new images of the D-Rex, the most substantial being the leaked toy, the leaked figure that looks like this, and the official render that looks like this. Notably, these both are sort of tan in coloration, which kind of makes me kind of rethink what color the actual animal is in the movie. Like, it looks like it's black. It very much looks like it's a black animal. But now that I'm really looking at it, and someone even brought this up in my TikTok comment section, that maybe it's just the red light that's kind of making it appear darker than it truly is, and really it's more so like a tan colored animal that has like more brown spots. That could very well be a possibility. Even when the knuckle drops down, you'll notice on the figure, its knuckles are darker than the rest of the animal's, the rest of the animal, and it just looks like it's black in the movie. That's really not the biggest deal. That's just something that I thought was interesting, because I actually prefer the more tan coloration over the solid black coloration. Like, the solid black coloration certainly reminded me of a xenomorph, and I think that the tan coloration also links it a little bit more to the T-Rex, who, as we know, is brown. Her colors are brown in the movie. Obviously the Buck's, his colors are green. That was certainly a voice crack. But the Buck's colors are green. There's other colors of T-Rex in the franchise, but this is something that links it specifically to Rexy. So that might hint at the origin of the D-Rex here. On top of that, another big piece of news that we have gotten are the Mutadons. The Mutadons are interesting. I haven't formed a complete opinion on it because we have seen nothing. I haven't seen a single, nobody's seen a single image of the Mutadons. We haven't seen any footage of the Mutadons. And of course, the movie's not out yet, so we can't form complete opinions anyway. But as they're described as being a mixture between a pterosaur, like a pteranodon, and the velociraptors, which of course really kind of delves into hybrid territory, but whatever. Um, it sounds different. It's certainly going to be very different from the Jurassic franchise. And, I don't really know what my opinion on that is. I don't know if I'm going to like that. I could like it. Like maybe I'll watch the movie and I'll think it's the coolest, most rad, I can't speak today. And I'll think it's the coolest, most rad thing ever. But we'll have to wait and see about that. All we know is that that is a new thing. We are getting 2 mutants in this movie, which that starts leaning more towards being overcrowded. There's a lot of creatures in this movie, and one of the biggest problems I had with Dominion is that it was just too stuffed. There was too many things going on, and they wanted to like showcase all of these different things, but as a result, these different things didn't have a chance to really shine. It's like you have cool animals showing up, like the Dimetrodon and the Therizinosaurus, but we don't get too much time with them, so they don't really leave as much of an impact as they possibly could. I don't really want the same thing from this movie. I want, like, there's a lot of really cool animals here, and I want more of a focus to be placed on them. It's more of a quality versus quantity thing. But they could very well pull it off, but it's just like the more we hear about it, the more creatures that get revealed, and the more worried I get that we run the risk of having the same problem. I'll also throw this in. Apparently, someone mentioned that the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus will be in this movie. I think it was one of the writers who said that, or it was somebody who said it. That doesn't necessarily mean that the specific Asset 87 Spinosaurus is showing up. That just probably means that they said Spinosaurus is going to be in this movie, like from Jurassic Park 3. That's kind of what I get from it. Because we know the Spinosaurus is in this. We get 3, we get the triplets. Regardless, that's going to be really cool. I'm very excited to see that. So yeah, the Mutadon, Pterosaur Raptor hybrid. We'll see. I wonder what they'll look like, though. Like, on the Paleopod, by the way, go and check out the Paleopod. Link is in the description. It's a podcast that I do with 2 of my buddies. We talk about dinosaurs for like an hour. Definitely check that out. Shameless plug is over. Anyway, the Mutadon, I mentioned this in the Paleopod, that what if it looked like a Nishi, which is this little dinosaur that had membrane wings, which is weird and also awesome. It shows that it revealed to us that flight kind of like convergently evolved within an animal like a dinosaur, because membrane wings, that's very similar to like bats or pterosaurs, rather than being more similar to birds who develop flight feathers. That's cool. And like, what if these Mutadons just look like that, but upscaled? I think I would kind of like that, because I love Yishi. It'd be unfortunate that we didn't get like an actual Yishi, but seeing something that kind of looks like a Yishi would be really cool. I don't know. That's more so me just thinking out loud, I suppose. But I really wouldn't mind seeing something along those lines. But aside from that, I don't really have too much else to say about all of this. That's just all of the new things that we've learned since it's been a while. Most of this information does come from the Empire magazine, so there's a pretty decent amount of meat to all of this. Also, we've gotten a few more images of the Mosasaurus, or as I'm going to start calling it, the humpback lizard, because it's like jumping out of the water, and the position that it's taking, and just the way that its flippers look, and of course its throat, it looks like a humpback whale. Not really a complaint. I just think it looks interesting. I wasn't expecting that. But anyway, that is another thing. We might be getting another trailer here pretty soon. I've heard rumors that we'll be getting one on Wednesday, so tomorrow at the time of recording. I hope so, because I want something else to sink my teeth into. Of course, I am excited for this movie. I am really anticipating this movie. July is going to be an absolutely packed month for movies, but the project that I'm most looking forward to would have to be Rebirth. But yeah, be sure to let me know what you guys think about all of this stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome day.